Hi guys, I'm Lene and I'm back with another video. Today I want to share with you a TBR video. A little bit late, but it is the 1st of September tomorrow, so I needed to film this also because in my head I can't deal with the fact that I don't know what I'm going to read for the month. Earlier in the month I had considered just using September as a catch-up month, reading things that I didn't get to from my different TBRs for the month. For whatever reasons, but then people started announcing different readathons, and I am definitely going to be participating in said readathons. So when I had the idea that I wasn't going to do any Bookopoly this month, Becca from Becca and the Books decided to host a Bookopolathon this month, which definitely means that I'm definitely going to try and participate in that, because I have been doing Bookopoly over the year and I have definitely been inspired by Becca from Becca and the Books to do this, and so definitely I want to participate. My issue with everything is that I don't have a printer, so I couldn't print out a new board, and I wanted to use the board that obviously she has. So I've used sticky notes all around the board in order to make spaces for the prompts, and I hate it a little bit, but it's how it's gonna work. Then I can use it again next month for my October TBR whenever that comes around. Let's briefly talk about how I did last month. First off, I don't know if you remember, but I didn't pick any audios for my TBR for last month, or at least not the Bookopoly picks. And that was definitely a shot in my own foot, because I knew how busy I was going to be this month, and it was definitely way more intense than I had ever imagined. I think I had really long days every day of the month, and first today I was able to go to my normal time, and that's the first day this month at work I've been able to do that. So I definitely have had my fair share of hectic days, and meaning that when I came home I wasn't really feeling like reading a lot. I have been reading every day more or less. There was a couple of days I didn't, but overall I actually think I managed pretty well. The first week of August was also the Olympics, and I didn't read very much then, but I have been reading a little bit every day. But I ended up finishing 2 things from my Bookopoly TBR out of 7 things that were picked for me, and I am close to finishing a 3rd book. But that is not a Bookopoly pick, that's just a body read that I had on top of that. So yeah, but let's talk about the things that I did actually finish. First up, I finished Cry Wolf by Patricia Briggs, which I picked because I decided for urban fantasy, and not until I had posted my video did I realize that the prompt I actually landed on was paranormal romance, and so I didn't necessarily have to put in an urban fantasy. I could have used Night Pleasures for that prompt, which I'm currently buddy reading with Sherrilyn and intending on finishing today. But I ended up reading this and I enjoyed myself when I was reading it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, so it's definitely a good book. It's not my favorite of hers. Obviously, it's the first book in the spin-off series to the Mercy Thompson series. This one is called Alpha and Omega, and it's a quite different way it's written, but more on that in my wrap-up about this book. I talk about it in my weekly wrap-up, so you can check that out if you want more thoughts about this. The other book that I also managed to finish over the month was Magic for Liars by Gailey. This is an urban fantasy mystery kind of thing. I pulled this from a chance card, and it is one I read from my Kindle. I ended up really enjoying it. It was really good. I have enjoyed Sarah Gailey's books before, but I think this one was my favorite of the ones. I'm not sure. I really like River of Teeth as well, but it was definitely very different. It's sort of a murder mystery in a magical school setting, so she has no magical abilities herself, and it was a lot of fun. And I also have been talking about that in my recent weekly wrap-up, so if you want to know more about my thoughts on it, then definitely check out that video if you haven't already. So those are the 2 things that I managed to finish my Bookopolathon last month, and I don't want to take any punishes for myself. I don't usually do that, but I mean, this one was bad. Hopefully things will get better with this month, because I already feel like I'm reading more now, and now I don't have as much at work, I should be able to fit in more time to actually read. So maybe I can actually add in like an hour and a half of reading every day instead of just half an hour. And that would definitely change a lot. So yeah, apart from the Bookopolathon, I also really want to participate in the magical readathon that's happening this month. This is a reoccurring readathon that has been happening over the past couple of years. It has been focusing a lot on a different universe, obviously. I think she's very famous for that readathon, but now she's rebranded it. She's come up with a whole new idea, and I really enjoy that, and I think that I still really want to participate in that. And in order, you sort of have to take a novice path kind of thing, and I want to do all the prompts if I can. There's 7 books in that line, and then next year we're going to build more of a character kind of path in April and August, and it's going to be April and August again like it was with the previous ones. I'm definitely going to be participating in that. But the first prompt is the novice path. Read a book with a map on it. I already have more or less picked out something from this one. I have paid attention to Twitter over the past year and noticed that there was a readathon, read-along happening of the Faithful and Fallen series, which I've read the first 2 books, but I still have yet to read the last 2 books. And they started on their group read of this in July, and is supposed to read Ruin in September. So I'm going to try and jump in on that read along and read Ruin over the month of September. I really want to get back to this series. It's a series that I've really been enjoying, and I know I can usually get swept very much into it, but I have been putting it off because it's quite lengthy. I think it's 700 pages. I think it has a map. I actually haven't checked. What if I don't have a map in this? Do I have a map? No. Yes. Whew, I just thought there wasn't a map, but there is a map. I just thought that it was just a character sheet. But there's a map. I mean, what is a high fantasy novel without a map, right? The second prompt is The Ash Torn 3, a book that keeps tempting you. And depending on how my Bookopoly goes, I will pick something that fits this maybe, or otherwise I'll pick something afterwards. The Most of Solitude, read a standalone, which also again, same. Ruin of the Sky, book featuring ghosts, haunted houses, or a supernatural element. Obsidian Falls, read a thriller or a mystery book. And then the next prompt is Tower of Rumination, a 5-star prediction. And finally, Aurelium Academy R, book with school setting. I don't know if I have forgotten some words, but definitely go and check out G from Book Rose's announcement video about this, and being able to sign up and talk about, you can read about all of the prompts, all of the things she has made for this. She's done a lot of good work for this, so definitely check it out. And all of the information about this will be down below, as well as Becca from Becca's books, obviously. So this was the first part. Now I'm going to try and roll the Bookopoly. I am attempting to roll 5 rolls as I have been doing over the past couple of months, and hope that I don't get any doubles, but if I do, then I'll add extras for that. So yeah, let's get rolling. I hate how this looks, but it's going to have to go work like this. Because this is a brand new board, I'm starting on the start spot, which is here. Okay, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first prompt is people, so that's up to interpretation, but another 5. And randomize your TBR. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Community chest. I just kept the old ones because I figured it's the same thing. And it says, read a Danish book. Come on, work with me. Danish book. And 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Last color, meaning last a color that was on the last book you finished, or the most prominent color on that. And the 6 and it says LGBTQIA+. That was actually the last prompt, so woohoo! Anyway, so I finished rolling and I finished trying to figure out what books to pick for the different prompts. I have put them in order, so I have actually 12 books on my TBR now, and 10 of them fits for the different readathons, and the other 2 are just extra books that I want to read. So yeah, I'm definitely very much more generous with my audio listening this month, just in order to not burn myself out from the beginning. As I've already mentioned, the novice path thing with a map in the book, I'm going to be reading Ruin by Gwynne, which is the 3rd book in the Faithful Land of Fallen series. The 2nd book that I'm going to be reading is actually an unwrapping. Because there's a book that keeps tempting you, a book that keeps tempting you and you want to read it. I've wanted to continue with this series for ages and I've itched to pick it up. I have put it away a little bit because it's an audio that I'll have to listen in normal speed in my car because it's a CD, but I'm going to try and give it an attempt this month. Maybe I can listen to it at home. I have a DVD player, so I can probably listen to it like that as well. Like mix it up a little bit, but this is, as I assumed, my collection of the books 6 to 10 of the In Death series by Robb. The only book I need to read in this one is Witness in Death, which is the last and final one on this collection. And usually these are about 10 hours long, so I will be trying to listen to this in my car. Maybe I will already bring it with me tomorrow. We'll see. I don't have as much driving time as usual, so we'll see how quick I get into it. And if it seems like it takes a little longer, I'll probably take it with me in here and listen to it when I'm at home as well. So the 3rd book that I'm going to be reading is a book that I've also put off for a long time, but I've wanted to read it. I keep forgetting about it. It's on my Audible. It's one I downloaded on my Audible, used the credit for a long time ago, and that's The Wolf in the Whale by Jordana Max Brodsky. Yes, I think that's what I wrote down. And this one fits for a standalone for the Magical Readathon, and it fits with the color because the font on the cover is red, which is the predominant color of my most recent red book, which was Magic for Liars by Gailey. So I decided to go with that for that prompt, so that fits the Bookopolathon color prompt. Book number 4 that I'm going to read is my next Stephen King book, and that's going to be 4 Past Midnight, which is a supernatural book, or it's a horror book, it's a thriller book, it's tagged thriller, mystery, suspense, everything, but it's also tagged supernatural a couple of times, and I figured it works really well under the ghost, haunted house, supernatural part, because I think there's probably going to be elements of that in this book. So the 5th book that I'm going to be reading is The Crépes of Wrath by Sarah Fox. This is a cozy mystery and it fits the thriller mystery prompt. I'm in the mood for that. And it's also narrated by an audio narrator that I enjoy, which is Margaret Gavin, who narrates the Hollows books. And I also recently read a fantasy book by her on urban fantasy, a dragon fantasy book that I read earlier in the month that I really enjoyed. And I just really like her narration style, so I know that I'm in for a good book when I read that. The 6th book that I have on my list is What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society and the Meaning of Sex by CHEN, and this will work for both readathons. So this will cover the 5-star prediction prompt, because I do believe I'm gonna give this 5 stars. It is a book that resonates very much with me already, because I am asexual, so it fits really well with me, obviously, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. Also, it fits the prompt LGBTQIA+ prompt that I picked for my Bookopolathon, because The 7th book that I'm gonna be reading is also one that I can use for both readathons, and that is When We Were Magic by Sarah Gailey. I just really enjoyed Sarah Gailey's book list this month, so I decided to put on this. Also because I can see I have an audio I can listen to, so I can work on it in a quicker way. And so I'm going to be listening to this at home. This is covering set in a school setting. I believe that they go to school, these people. I believe it's set in a high school sort of setting, so I hope I'm right about that. Otherwise, I'll need to see if I can find something else. Okay, I think this was only the school setting, so that's fair. It's fine. On the Bookopoly board, I also picked out a Danish book, read a Danish book, and for that I'm gonna read Milan, or The Queen's Memories. That's the title. Milan, the Memory Land is the series title. This is, I think, just under 300 pages, so it's not a very long book, and it's Danish as well, so it's probably going to be a quick read. I decided to go with this one because it seemed like the best choice for me this month, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I do think that I'm going to really enjoy it. The 9th prompt, or the 9th book that I have on my list to read, is covering the people prompt, which I just decided to go with a contemporary book, and for that I'm going to read To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, because this is the last and final book I have to read for the TBR project, for the genre TBR romance kind of thing that I've been doing, and so I can finish that with this book. And also, finally, I landed on the prompt random, which is randomizing your TBR, and I don't want to randomize all of my TBR because there's a lot of books I don't own, but I decided to go with the easiest route, and the easiest thing to do is just to pick a chance card, because it's filled with books that I own on my Kindle. They're all random, and they're all books that I generally want to read. So no matter what it is, I probably will want to read it. So I'm just shuffling. So let's see what I have. Ignite the Stars. Is that a sci-fi book? I think Ignite the Stars, I believe it's a sci-fi. Come on. Ignite the Stars. You probably can't even read my handwriting, so that is the random book for me for this month. I'm just going to quickly read the prompt, or the blurb, because I've forgotten. Ignite the Stars. Also, I want to remember it's by Maura Milan. What does it say? Everyone in the universe knows his name. Everyone in the universe fears him, but no one realizes that notorious outlaw La Coja, I don't know how to pronounce that, is a 17-year-old girl, a criminal mastermind, and an unrivaled pilot. La has spent her life terrorizing the Olympus, Commonwealth, the imperialist nation, and destroyed her home. It sounds interesting for sure. So, oh, how long was it? It's 388 pages, the hardcover edition. I could also have picked a TBR wrapping and unwrapped it for you. I realize that now, but you know, I'm happy about this. Because that will have been random, especially if I pick the random category as well. But didn't do that. As I mentioned earlier, I also have 2 extra books that I want to get to this month. The first one of those is my next Terry Pratchett reads. Of course, I can't go another month without reading a Terry Pratchett book. This month I want to read I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. This is the next, I think, Tiffany Aching book. I feel like I know I've been super stressed this month, especially considering I haven't even found time to actually buy the next copy. I usually do that well in advance, so I have it whenever I have to pick it up. But I ordered it yesterday, and it says it's gonna be here around the 9th of September, so I'll just put it in my reading for the later part of the month. And then I have put on, I haven't talked to Sherrilyn yet, but I'm really enjoying our body read with the Dark Hunter book that we've been reading, and I think we may attempt to try and read a next one in September maybe. Otherwise we can also postpone it, but if so, I have put down Night Embrace by Sherrilyn Kenyon, which is the next book in that universe. It's the 2nd book in the Dark Hunter series, but it's the 3rd in the universe. So I'm looking forward to reading that one at least. So I'll have to check out with Shannon on that. But otherwise, these are all of the books. Even though I don't know that yet, I still have a good stack to get started on at least. So I definitely have my TBR ready for me that I can pick from tomorrow. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you're participating in any of these 2 readathons, what your plans are for the month of September, if you have any exciting reads on your TBR. Let me know about that in the comments down below. Anyway, this is everything I had for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye.